All right.
Walls need some work before this place is secure. My
Uh,
husband could fix them right up.
Sage back with more pills of eternity. I want to do something a little different. I don't have. I want to go in here. That was worked on. Okay, that's what I wanted. All right.
That old watcher. I don't know what I expected, but it sure wasn't that.
You said some things you wanted to ask him.
Nah, well, it's kind of embarrassing now. I just got a dumb idea in my head is all. Don't know why I thought it'd work. That's funny. That's probably the first thing I got my hopes up for in, I don't know, years. At least I got that out of it.
What is it?
All right. Guess fair is fair, and you did bring me to see him. Those rumors back in Gilded Vale about my brother, Woden, about how he'd turned against us and fought for Widewind, been on my mind for some time now. Thing about Woden was, he always knew what was right, and that's what he'd do. One day he set out to fight for Deerwood against a man claiming to be our god. So I knew that's what I had to do too. It was right. But hearing claims that he died fighting for Rhea Ceres, that got me worried. Not that he'd chosen the wrong side, but that I had. Didn't seem right what Widewind had in store, but if he really was Aethys, I thought maybe this old Watcher would know how my brother died. So I could see if it was true. Like he could, I don't know, read it in my soul or something. Use our connection. Told you it was dumb.
When you asked me for help, it's because I didn't know you. It's hard to trust a stranger, so that stranger that says he's a watcher.
Of course, I knew the truth deep down. A Watcher's not psychic. I think I just had this idea, and the idea made me feel a certain way, and I didn't want to lose that.
Really, if I wanted to find out about my brother, I shouldn't be starting with watch. I should be starting with records. So why don't you? If there was anything written about it, it'd have to be in Defiance Bay. They've got an archive palace.
You've done a lot for me already, but if you could see fit to pay that archive a visit with me, well, you know. Knowing my luck, the records clerk will go crazy and try to kill me. I'd feel better with you in there with me.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. Allah seems lost in thought. He flinched when you draw near, sucking a sharp breath through his teeth.
What can I do for you?
You right?
Of course. Merely processing some of the unusual things we've seen lately. And if Meerwald is to be believed, it would seem you've an uncertain future ahead.
I don't know what to think.
Perhaps Defiance Bay holds the answers we need.
Something else. Tell me about it here. I've gone more than a year now, but I expect to always think of Forest Appeals as dearest home. Thousands of years of history and tradition behind us, and there's no sense of dignity and responsibility that comes with that. Of course, that's baggage as well. Our imperial past is still fresh in minds of many, as you might have noticed here. Is it difficult to adjust to the Deerwood? People here are informed, more hot-blooded, more attentive to insult than to duty, but as long as one avoids provocation, it's easy enough to get along. I've gotten accustomed enough to keeping my thoughts to myself anyway. How many of you serves? How long were you in Guild Vale? Not much longer than you, as you saw it hardly even Haven that had been advertised. And it's any thoughts on what I should do next? Master Marwell urged you to seek out the leading key agents to Defiance Bay. Yes, if his condition is any warning, we should find them with all haste. Seeing it draws up beside you, your fox swinging her heels makes a seat next to you.
Even if you are putting one over on me, it's nice to have a hunting party again.
You've been searching for Sock for 5 years?
5 years for me. Must be 30-something for Itumok.
How's the search
It's
going?
been a long hunt. A long time away from my family. Before, I'd crossed the tundra of Nasitok following caribou herds. I didn't want to leave Kalu and our children, but I was eager to visit lands my people rarely do. But 5 years without finding him. It's like 2 hours of necking. I'm ready to be done with it.
Why do you have to find Sock?
Soul recovery is an old village tradition. We call it the Tarnek Elite Sock. Once in a generation, we seek the soul of a much respected and long dead village elder. We tell him what's changed in the village, how people remember him. The only other Tarnek Elite Sock during my lifetime happened when I was a girl, not long after Persock died. We feasted on blubber and fermented milk for a week, and we honored the chosen huntress as a hero. Then she left, and we returned to our duties. We still sang her name to the skies during festival season, but we otherwise didn't speak of her.
I'm sure your village still remembers you, Sagnai. Kind of say so, but I'm not so fragile that I need my name chanted in the meeting halls.
It's not being forgotten by my village that troubles me. But sometimes I wonder how my husband and children remember me. If they think of me often.
Must be difficult.
Still, there's no point in dwelling on it. More often I find myself wondering whether Persock will remember us. You claim to see souls. What do you think? Do you remember your past lives?
Yes, fragments. Really, what's like. It's strange, feels like I'm going. Frustrating, I only wish anymore. I don't envy you. Guess I'm lucky I only have to worry about someone else's past life.
Makes me wonder what Persock remembers about our village. Or if a turn at the wheel has yanked the details out of his mind like it does for most of us.
Has your village changed since his time?
Masuk is probably much the same as it was 100 years ago. We live between tundra and frozen forests, and the land takes as much as it gives. But our hardships bring us together. And the elders truly unite us. They keep the stories of past generations, and they guide us from season to season, through good years and lean.
Recently, there's been a lot of good years. My aunt says we've had fewer clashes with neighboring villages thanks to the hunting territories that Stock helped establish. In bad years, we allowed trade and merchant pass our shores, which exchanged walrus tusks and seal pelts for grains that lasted in the heart of winters. Persock brokered a lot of these rooms too. He got this from one of the Amagwa ships that used to trade with us. Sounds like Persock did a lot for your village.
That's what
people.
I'm supposed to remind him.
Sounds like you're a hunter of your own, though. Feeling the thrill of chase, ready for this to be over. I enjoy the adventure. Every day brings something new. Refreshing indeed. We've got some darkness on our side. Shall we move on? God. I don't know. I want to know more about Homeland. That's the target. It's a big island in the middle of the Deep Archipelago, just off the coast of the White. That winds. Tundra mostly, with a few snow-covered forests in the warmer parts. Most live in early and fairly small village by standards here. Anyway, mine is Masuk. What is Nasitok like? Cold, but not as cold as the White that wins. The few kids who visit Nasitok find it scarce, but there's plenty to sustain them as a village if you know where to look. We get hides and meat from caribou, seals, and small whales, but done bone too, which makes fine bows and arrowheads. Community is important to us. We survive our parish together, so everything we do, every week long hunt, every wall we build for the village. Who lives there? Mostly anatolics like me, people who call us boreal dwarves. Migratory clans of Glambella and white that wins sometimes spends the colder season nest tuck. But we don't see too many other foreigners who can tolerate the elements. Those born in nest tuck, like say we have a hard layer of sealskin that's just beneath their flesh. Tell me more about Masuk. We're a tundra village. To an outsider's eyes, we're probably not much different from the others around us, but our elders have stories that go back hundreds of years. Epic hunts, battles with neighboring villages, sagas across the sea. We share these stories too. What do you want to do back in Nestok? I'm a long hunter. I saw game across the tundra with some of the other wives. We used to hunt caribou and oxen, but we find hares and birds too. It's good and I respect the position to see so much Nestok in the company of my friends and sisters. This is one of the pleasures of life. Now I'm gonna talk. Good hunter, I'm not much of a talker. That's fine by me. When we hunt Nestok, we always bring our boxes with us. They help us track and flush game. And the fearless defenders against bears and snow leopards. Clever. Talk has always been my favorite. You haven't been like back in your village? Of course, we never send a woman who hasn't had the chance to find a mate and have a couple children of her own. Come on, your children. I've had 5: Yakona, Estoya, Duo, Anak, and Malak. Estoya and Anak died young, and long lean winters. Malak was barely talking when I left. He probably won't know me until I get home. Even in Esther, I spend most of my time on hunt. But then it's easy to release to Welsh hunt when I know I see my family enjoying our kill. What's your husband like? He looks a good man. Raised our children well and built a strong home when I've been away on hunts. Parents chose us for one another when we were so young. Not the way that things used to be done here, but ours to choose well. We came to PG others as helpmates first and friends, then, well, you know how it goes. Your husband. And your word, your husband will. Are you kidding me? I'm the best shot in Masuk. I'm curious about your search for Suck. I'll tell you what I can, but turn out to Suck privileges like mine are rare. Why do people have this tradition? It's something we've always done. The elders say it was first begun to forge ties with the villages. It's hard to fight over caribou herds when you see someone respecting their side. We also believe that passing our history on is this way keeps us stronger, and it helps them, the elders. I mean, return to us after they've been away from us for a generation or more. They can use the experiences they've accumulated over lifetimes to lead the village again. Aren't elders usually born so far from the village? Most often, they return somewhere in Nastatok, a member of another village, or they're reborn along the confound of white that wins. Even so, it's hard to say that's what's usual. When my grandfather was a boy, the elder came back as a polar bear. The hunters chosen for the task had to recite half of his village's deeds while running from the beast. Even so, there have been journeys longer than some mine. Some last decades, and the huntress doesn't always return. What happens when the elder's found? That depends on the man or woman he's become. It's easiest when the rebirth happens in another village, and that's tough. Where the tradition is understood, even in the White That Wins and the southern islands of the Deadfire archipelago, people understand this custom and will welcome you politely, even if their souls do not remember. But sometimes you find someone whose soul has no memory of the village. You have to tell him that the people remember him still. As disheartening as it is, you hope that reminder will aid his soul in a future life. How did you get picked to come search? How did you get picked to come search for Suck? Another old village tradition, the elders watching caribou migration and cast seal bones to determine the right time for this journey. When the omens were determined, all the villagers wide drew short teeth. Were the ones that go away to hunt fish were the best suited for all tasks like this. Anyway, I'd read little too. Traveling so far is a rare privilege for us, but as you can see, the journey can be unpredictable. What are your thoughts on my search? Helps to know what you're hunting. You've got a lot of tracks as well, but they're or the lead, anyone's guess. I gotta see what the hell the guy has to say.
Walls need some work before this place is secured. My husband could fix them right up.
A place of ruin. It is long.
It's good to be on the road again. A wanderlust is nothing rare in the people of Rawatai, but often I think myself alone in loving the land as much as the sea. What shall we see next, I wonder?
How are you holding up? Right if you are, tell me about yourself.
What shall I tell? I am Kanarua, born in the royal city of Takoa, from which rules the Ranganui. There. That is a solemn enough start. I am a lore chanter in the college there. Or at least a student of lore and a chanter both.
Accent's right, but you don't look like you're from Ratsui. Do I not? I take your meaning. My family's from the Dead Fire Archipelago, but I've never seen the island. My parents traveled to Ribtai many years before I was born. They found more opportunities in Ribtai. My mother took to craft in cans, aspiring pirate that she is. My father's worked well. Coral caught the eyes of someone important, then the Ragnar Nui himself. The rest followed. What else would you like to know? What made you leave the college?
I was on the usual path at first. Theology, the traditions, when the Gate of Great Teeth was completed. It was all my father had hoped for. The greatest commission he had ever received. But it was also a sign that Rawatai was changing, looking inward. Meanwhile, I was neck-deep in the writing of a dozen nations, marveling at all the things that lay beyond our borders.
So many of those books and records have found accounts of ancient Ngwith. Adherents hold a great hunger for Ngwith relics, and why shouldn't they? The civilization of which my Balthans learned to be souls. I decided my third degree would be in history, and that I would study Ngwithans. They were at the heart of so much discussion and brought us so many discoveries. In truthful mockery, we watched Adir draw itself into several conflicts with weapons over the ruins. Takakoa had its own concerns. And soon I found a section of the Tunoa O Oratoa, an Adiran translation of the ancient Ngwithan script, just where, without explanation, it seemed like a gift from the gods. Tell me about the Lord Chanters. My eldest brother thinks we should spend our days in song, weaving wreaths of flower truths as far as exciting than that. The college preserves what knowledge people have gathered. I would have it so that Lord Chanters welfare are far from without them. We would have no beginning of since how far we come. We forget ourselves with every generation. I'm only a student, but yet someday will return and tell a keeper what I learn, and we shall add my spirits to the chant. What is the Gate of Great Teeth? Which it sounds to me as walls like teeth of some nautical terror. It sets out the city and guards to Takoa from invaders and storms. Storms have always been more trouble. I know Tari, the angry titans for themselves against Ritari's shores. Invaders I'm not so sure about. Perhaps I'm like the man who, being dry, throws off his raincoat cloak during a storm, so my mother would have me believe. What is the Ragnui? A king, our great king, ruler of all Ruchai. He's led our people well, and has treated my family very well. My father and I are great. My father and he are great friends, as much as one to be friends without with a king. Tell me about Ruchai.
Ah, Rawatai. Shall I describe the pearl-white sands, the sapphire waters, the multi-hued tiles of the rooftops, like a mosaic upon the coast? Sorry.
Tell me about the kingdom of Rituri in general. It's a long journey by ship to north, past Exumatil and across the sea. Instead of much of the Gulf, established more research trade colonies along the coast. We live as best we can like everyone else. Our land is plagued by storms, so we stand together whenever corner of Rachoy we hail from. Otherwise, we never survive. Tell me about the city. You're from Takoa.
Takoa is doubly famed, a royal city and home to the Coral Harbor. The Ranganui's palace is there, and we've a fleet of royal ships sitting outside the Gate of Great Teeth. Every so often, you'll hear the roar of a cannon being tested.
Flying ships in Rachoy into the world are anchored here, and some of the brightest minds toil away at the artillery. My mother, for instance, well, I have no talent with gunpowder. Takoa is also home to Laura College, and we get a great many people traveling long distance to speak with the lore keeper, or else the chance to pursue the books. At least that is what I know when I was younger. Things were a little different when I left. Surely dealing ships are the finest. The granite sure, housed on the water, give me a sleek tie, catch heavy with cannons, and I'll still run circles around your Bailing Carracks. Sounds like you miss home. Some parts of it. Those circle cliffs at sea, those at least no one can change. The day aboard the ship Pradira, the sunrise would scold upon the water, and I later depth overboard swam for home. Takoa has a lot of its artillery. Rachoy has a lot of artillery, made some great adventures. Advance of explosives. One of our artillery masters supplies when the God Hammer bombed during the Saints War, actually. Rachoy itself, our efforts are more modest. With bombard cannons, we're having some luck with mortars. You asked my sister if you ever visited Takoa. She visits Ratawana. She knows far more than I do and enjoys great fame for it. It may not be very traditional, but even the most strident demagogue won't touch the subject artillery. They'd lose what sport they've gathered. The only Amadou lived there. Far from it. In Mamamoa, where I more recently and from the greater number of other joints, as long as they call themselves subjects of the Raganui. Some of the neighbors are Arlans, for instance. My proof that they kept out of the sea. People here say that coastal Emma are real people. Cruel in the same minute, Orleans are pale elves graceful, yes. Amamoa conquered Ratatouille long ago and drove their enemies from the lands in doing it. Today, the great kingdom of Ratatouille holds humans, Orleans, elves, even an island of Amamoa. What a campaign to conquer says about those responsible have for asset adherence. In any case, reputation persists. Good if you want buying, work. Less so if you want to be a cook. Ugh. What's this sacred book you're looking
The
for?
Tanvi Oratoa. It's not really a book. It's been passed down over the years in the form of a chant. I actually found it a little strange at first, seeing it set down in stone. It's not quite the same as a song of worship, though we have paeans to the gods as well. More a kind of moral guide. It gives us something to aspire to. The, model of a virtuous citizen of Rawatai.
I looked for it out here.
There have been arguments as to the chant's true interpretation. New translations even. But any rendition of it I find in the ruins of Engwith will predate those translations by 2,000 years. And finding it here also proves that we still have much to gain from trading with other cultures. I'd be lying if I said I'm not looking forward to seeing the look on everyone's faces when I get back. But in the long term, I just think that we can learn a lot from the Engwithians. A civilization like that is something to aspire to. A model for Rawatai as a whole, and not just its people. And I want to prove that all of this is worthwhile. Traveling, seeing the world for what it is. It's been so different from sitting in the Chanter Hall and studying books.
Came all this way to win an argument?
More or less. It wasn't a popular theory when I suggested it. The idea that we shared the Tanvi Oratoha with some older culture, I mean, doesn't mean it's not true. It doesn't help that my family is from the Deadfire Islands. If I had a copper pond for every chanter who suggested that it's just not in my nature to conquer. My siblings, my parents, they make up for it. They build walls and cannons and ships. I've tried to explain. It isn't that I think those things aren't necessary, but if Rawatai closes itself off from trade, turns on its own people over tradition, we will fall behind. and then we'll be the ones getting conquered. I think my father tries to understand at least.
So describe the virtuous citizen.
Dutiful, learned, honest. The sticking point is loyal. Loyal to the people of Rauatai above all others. Fearless in their defense and bold in aspiration. Tireless in battle or industry. An inspiration to one's people. But it seems it's not that far a leap from there to the idea that we must cast out foreign influences.
Is that what you want to aspire to be?
Doesn't everyone want to be a good citizen?
You think Inquisitors were the true authors?
I don't know that the distinction is necessarily important. Rauatai has a long history, and our people have come from many different places. It matters less who wrote it than that I have found pieces of the verses all around the world. Wherever it came from, it will be Rauatai that decides what becomes of it. All the races and peoples of our kingdom coming together to create a great empire. You see, then, that I am loyal in my way.
You're being hunted by the leading key? So it seems so rather absurd. When harm could I possibly do them for finding the set? Perhaps they don't like retreating. How did this always begin? I ran to them in Adira. Rather, they sought me out. In Adira, there were so many people who had observed the Inquisition ruins that Druid and I spent some time conferring with experts. Arbors found accounts of sites in Evans Exmetil, and it was there I traveled next. But just before I found myself approached by a woman in dark robes who bade me abandon my studies for my own safety. I ignored her, of course, but I began to have the sense that of being followed. After that, well, one ambush on the road, I could call misfortune but three. Who are these people? I thought it only fair to delve into their activities in return. I found word of the leaden key, but past that, it was all rid of superstitions. I might as well have gone around asking whether someone had been a whale flying through that year. Somebody won't tell me, but yet the validity of their accent, of their accounts is true. You don't seem worried about this. I haven't had much luck. The last one came up to me on a dig site and slipped on a muddy beam. I tried to catch him, reflex I should think, but went right over the edge, down 100 feet. Really should have, not really sure what he had in mind, but I doubt what it was. You know something about this place? You had to know it's marble, an ugly crumbling marble, but it's overshadowed by what it sits upon. But the keep itself can tell you much about the Adjuran settlement. It's very rich people, I find. Man. Really?
Yes, my friend?
All right, now that's out of it. My here. That took half an hour. Gilded Veil, please. Craft an inventory check if it's necessary right now. Hmm. Look for aim would be good for her actually. The old man stands before you, his relatively stocky build suggesting a life of labor. His face is pale and drawn, his eyes wide. Behind him, a younger man and woman exchanging worried glances. Get back to be about your life. Hold on, I'm not here to hunt anyone. Wait, I know you. You just came into town, right? Don't tell me Sinward's already gotten his claws on you. God, that's all I need. What's all this ruckus outside? Where to begin? Quinn whipped him up into a cross. On about grain stores, claims I've had away most of my does it. All I would do with grain is sell it. Can't create it out of thin air, and I can't hand it out for free. Pay the farmers for the crops they bring in. I sell what I can out of the mill. Most of it goes to the Black Cow on the west side of town for ale, and somewhere in this lot. Don't mind that part. The fields on the way into town, the crops blighted, most of it's what I'm getting from the farmers. It's gone off, rotted through. I can't pay top price for blighted wheat. Really got enough to good grain to go around. Sooner it's Swainers howling up things he has no right to. Sounds like a pretty clean story for a messy situation. It's not. Look, Sanor's always been a rotten bastard. With stores so limited, maybe I save the good stuff for people who deserve it. And Pearl, for instance, she's expecting a child. Should I let her starve instead? Do the villagers know about the grain supply? Some, the innkeeper says, it doesn't worry anyone. I'll be trading for supplies soon enough, and we can't just keep things common until then. We're beyond the clear. The innkeeper. I wouldn't drink that up, I'm saying. Maybe I ought to go have a talk with Sarah then. I'd be grateful if you did. He won't listen to me anymore, but maybe you'll have some better luck. Tell him we're all having our time and we'll all have to make some sacrifices. We'll be in your debt if you can convince him. I'm thinking it is over here.
Greetings.
Welcome.
Oh well, talk of town you are, and you deign to come our way. What are you here for? Corner toast, some applause? Kind of looks like they're cut from the same cloth as those rowdies who attacked me. Smells like it too. I saw you outside the mill. What was that about? That business, let's just say, if you mean to help out around this place, maybe you ought to consider a common kit sometimes. Trouble thinks he's king of the town on account of he's got the mill to his name. Thinks it's fair him giving us barely anything for the wheat we bring him. Then cutting our purse so we need to buy grain. Those farmers going hungry while the bastard gets rich off their crops. Maybe he's one you ought to ask questions. The stranger retired him. We're tired of him playing Lord. Look, there's no sense in threatening Miller. You have him up against the wall. Maybe you could ask him to poke his elbow just for help. You're right. Things go on like they are. We're just going to end up hanging from a tree out there. Tell him the Trimble will even be. Don't know if that will do for now. The crop's failing. You haven't got another trader to speak of. Think Posca needs a hand around the end. Yeah, I have some of these words are tongue twisters for me. They just are.
Well met, friend.
You're back. Have you had any luck with Sunur? I spoke to Sunur. What did he say? I'm convinced him to leave your family in peace. Well, that's great news. I wasn't sure you'd get through to him. Rather minds without drink half the time. Oh, you're a great debt here. Today's earnings to show my appreciation. I'll let everyone know what you've done for me. Glad to help. And we stand a chance of getting through the year. All thanks to you. Safe travels, friend. There it is. That's what I was looking for. It's right in front of me. And that's it there. I think Divine's Bay is what's really next. I think so. I ain't making money. This could be a hard one coming up. I don't remember.
Defiance Bay, the city at the heart of the Deerwoods Revolution, now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by White One's legacy, hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to animancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.